Hello, I'm Park Hye-in, and I'm here to guide foreign residents living in Korea on how to prevent financial crimes. We will look into how to deal with financial frauds that are becoming increasingly intelligent, such as voice phishing, SMS phishing, online shopping scam, and borrowed name bank account. As communication technologies such as the internet are developing in our society, crimes exploiting personal information leakage are also increasing. Voice phishing is the most common one among such crimes. Voice phishing is a financial fraud that steals money by deceiving the other party with communication devices such as telephones. Consider any call asking for a bank account and money to be dangerous and be suspicious of it if you receive such calls. An example was voice phishing using an embassy's phone number. This is an example of manipulating the calling number to disguise it as a call from an embassy and requesting the answering party's personal information and money by claiming that the victim is involved in a crime. Another case is becoming a criminal by working as a money withdrawing person. Financial fraud criminals often use international students to withdraw money stolen through voice phishing from a bank. International student A read an internet post that offered a reward for withdrawing money from a bank on behalf of someone else. When he actually withdrew money from an ATM, he was arrested by police and punished as an accomplice to a crime. If you believe that you were victimized by voice phishing, call the police immediately. The police will connect you to the financial institution to suspend the transaction of the affected account immediately. No financial institution asks for personal information such as bank book or credit card number over the phone under any circumstances. Never be fooled by criminals. Then how can you avoid voice phishing? If you receive a call from an unknown number, it is better not to answer it and just hang up. If it is an important call, the caller will call you back or leave a text message. Keep in mind that no one is allowed to ask for personal information or money over the phone in Korea. If you receive any suspicious calls, be sure to call 112 for counseling. Also, be aware of SMS phishing, which is linked to voice phishing. A false SMS text message offering a loan, informing payment settlement completion from the main bank, or a message pretending to be from an acquaintance can all lead to voice phishing by making the victim make a phone inquiry. If you receive such calls, delete or report it to the police to prevent secondary damage. Everyone shops online, right? So let's look into frauds that occur when buying and selling goods over the internet. Online shopping scam techniques mostly involve demanding payment first by offering a discount. Let's look into a case of a purchaser contacting the fraudulent seller first and suffering damage from the demand for prepayment. A purchaser read an offering of an item on an online community page and contacted the seller to buy it. The seller asked for payment first, and the purchaser sent the money. The purchaser received a text message confirming the payment and shipment of the items, but never received it. By that time, the community was closed and the seller cannot be contacted. The next case is a seller contacting a potential victim and inducing the victim to pay for the item beforehand. A purchaser wrote a post about buying a particular item and was contacted by a seller. The purchaser usually checks the seller's background but was too busy with work at the time and makes a deposit in advance without inquiring about the seller. However, the purchaser received nothing from the seller, and upon checking on the seller, the purchaser discovered that the seller is involved in many fraudulent cases. Then how can you prevent online shopping scam? First of all, you need to be suspicious of the seller if the item is too cheap, and when buying an item from a person, you need to meet the seller in person and check the item thoroughly before making payment. If a face-to-face transaction is not feasible, make sure to check if the seller is legitimate. You can query the seller's contact from the websites operated by the Korean National Police Agency, Cyber Bureau, and The Cheat, and check if there has been any report of fraud against the seller or if the account is valid. Make sure you check the seller's background before sending the money through an online transaction. You've probably heard of a borrowed name bank account. It is often used to evade tracking in criminal activities. A borrowed name bank account, as its name implies, is an abnormal bank account whose holder is different from the person who actually uses it. Criminals know that their bank accounts can be easily tracked by the police. Therefore, they borrow someone else's account and use it for criminal activities. If you hear something like, "I want to buy your bank account," "I set up a company and need a bank account," or "I will hire you if you bring your bank account," be aware that these are all illegal. Now, let's find out how we can prevent being a victim of a crime related to borrowed name accounts. There was an international student, B, who had been in Korea for a month. B happened to read an internet post offering 200,000 won if B lends his/her bank account and sends it to the criminal. Later, B was contacted by the police. The police notified B that his/her bank account was used in a voice phishing and asked B to come to the police station for an investigation. B stated that he/she made a mistake because B didn't know Korean laws well, but was still punished as an accomplice to a criminal activity. Then how can you prevent being a criminal with a borrowed name bank account? Do not inform or lend your bank book, debit card, or account password to anyone. The same goes with copies of the items I just mentioned. And don't be swayed by temptation, like someone offering you money or increasing the loan limit for lending a bank book. Financial fraud has not gone away and continues to threaten us in new ways. Therefore, be thoroughly aware that personal information is an important property that should not be easily given to anyone. Don't be swayed by calls or text messages pretending to be from a public agency, financial institution, or acquaintances. Report it to the police immediately if you suspect fraud.